time.
Recently, I've had a number of people call me about wanting to change their attorney, and I have a lot to say about that, but I'm going to keep it very brief, okay? Because the thing is this, I'm going to go down a list of things you need to think about when you already have an attorney and you're trying to find someone else to take up your case, because the thing that most attorneys young attorneys don't recognize until they get somewhat seasoned is that you don't have to take every case that comes in the door, and you probably shouldn't take every case that comes through the door, but you don't really know that when you first start off. So what I will tell you, or what I will tell a client, potential client, or someone that's calling me, is these few steps, or these few things that I've been thinking about. Number one, how long has the attorney that you've had been representing you? Number two, have you actually spoken with your lawyer about your problem? Instead of coming to another attorney first, probably what you should do is you should go reach out to that attorney and actually try to put your problems on the table and see if you can't resolve those together somehow. Has your attorney done any work on the case? Because if you sign up with an attorney and it's a personal injury attorney, and, my policies, I try not to take anybody's case. I try not to do that, because it's just not good business. Well, lawyers are not supposed to discuss your case with you if you are already signed up for another attorney. So what I tell people is basically that if you don't have a formal withdrawal letter or an email or a phone message or something that can show me that this person is no longer has an interest in your case, then I can't really talk to you about what another lawyer is doing on the case. Because the thing is too that they may have facts about the case, they may know things about the case that you don't. The other thing that I want to know is, are you still treating? If you're still treating, well then, hey, you may not have heard from your attorney because of the fact that you're still treating. A lot of attorneys don't get involved with the process dealing with you necessarily. If it's not a catastrophic injury case, if it's just a minor injury soft tissue case, you may not need to really speak to your attorney every week. Because you are going to go to the doctor or the physical therapist or the chiropractor, and that will be the main person that you need to speak with at that time. The attorney doesn't necessarily become truly involved with you until it's time for depositions, it's time for trial, it's time to file some motions, and they need more evidence or more information about your background. They need to look through your medical records and discuss something with you. Then that's when the attorney gets involved. If you have a case with an attorney out here, don't be so gung-ho as to throw them under the bus without actually talking about whatever the issue is and seeing if it can be rectified.
Ryan Little.
All right, it's kind of dark in here again today. I brought this ring light in hopes that it would give me some more light in here, but it's really a dark room, so we're going to go ahead and move on anyways. Today we're going to talk about hazardous materials and the transportation of them by commercial motor vehicles. So this is basically an outline or introduction piece to hazardous transportation basics, what exactly are hazardous materials, and hazard classification placards. So what is a hazardous material? Well, a hazardous material is defined under 49 CFR 171.8 as a material that poses an unreasonable risk to health, safety, and property during transportation and commerce. Now obviously we're talking about interstate commerce, federal commerce, but this could be applicable to interstate commerce as well. And if you're not in Texas and you're seeing this video, you need to consult with your local state laws to make sure that they don't have their own separate permitting program as well, because they probably do. Hazardous materials possess dangerous properties and or characteristics, which is what makes them hazardous to human health, safety, and property, obviously. The Department of Transportation created the Hazardous Material Regulations, or HMRs, that must be followed when a hazardous material is offered for transportation or for transportation and commerce. And that regulation for the HMRs you can find under 49 CFR 100 through 185. The violation of these HMRs or these hazardous material regulations can result in either a civil penalty if it's a minor offense, or if it's willful conduct, it can result in jail time. So a prime example of that would be the Lakewood, Colorado incident. I don't know if the young man that was driving that truck at the time, whether he was transporting hazardous materials, but if he was transporting hazardous materials at that time and they felt that, the conduct that he exemplified through his driving resulted in willful deaths or willful conduct, it can result in jail time, which is what potentially may happen in this case. Licensing requirements for hazardous materials or to drive a commercial motor vehicle. But I guess before we even get to what are the license requirements, we need to know exactly what is a commercial motor vehicle. Well, a commercial motor vehicle is a vehicle that weighs 26,001 pounds or more. It can carry hazardous materials requiring placarding, or it is designed or used to carry 16 persons or more, and that's including the driver. So, not talking about hazardous materials right here, but just talking about commercial motor vehicles. A prime example of a commercial motor vehicle would be the incident yesterday in the news about the Yes Prep school bus driver who was driving allegedly drunk at the time while she was transporting kids throughout Houston. So a school bus obviously can be categorized as a commercial motor vehicle because it's designed to transport 16 persons or more. And the thing too you need to keep in mind is that it just has to be designed to transport 16 persons or more. It doesn't necessarily have to carry 16 people at the time of the actual wreck. So now that we understand that, getting to the license requirements to transport hazardous materials, what do you need? Well, under 49 CFR Part 383, you're going to need your CDL, a valid commercial driver's license. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what that is. The second thing is you're going to need a hazmat endorsement. Just like you would need a motorcycle endorsement if you were going to drive a motorcycle as a civilian, you need a hazmat endorsement if you're going to transport hazardous materials in commerce. The last thing is a tanker endorsement. A commercial motor vehicle transporting bulk, liquid, or gas is what qualifies as a tanker endorsement. There's some other facts about it too, is that it's designed to transport any liquid or gaseous materials within a tank or tanks having an individual capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or the chassis. So yeah, that's a lot to take in right there. So if you don't get it, that's fine. You can always rewind that part. The other thing that I want to briefly talk about is that when you're transporting a hazardous material, you have to register with the National Registration Program. It governs the type and quantity of hazardous material you can transport, and proof of registration is required every time that you transport a hazardous material on our roadways. All right. So the last few things that I want to kind of go over very briefly is the hazard classification placards. Here in the United States of America, we have 9 classes for hazardous materials. So they're grouped by hazard type. So you have Class 1, which is explosives. It's 6 divisions within that group. Number 2 is gases. It's 3 divisions within that. Class 3 is flammable liquids. Class 4 is flammable solids. Class 5 is oxidizers and organic pesticides. Class 6 is poison and toxic materials. Class 7 is radioactive materials. Class 8 is corrosives. And Class 9 is miscellaneous hazardous materials. So it could be like a marine water pollutant or something like that. The only other thing is that these classes of hazardous materials can also be put into packing groups, which basically is telling you how great the danger is when you are packing these materials up. And the packing groups just go from 1 to 3. They basically are 1 for great danger, 2 for medium danger, 3 for minor danger. So I think that covers all that. This is like a basic, very basic outline of hazardous transportation basics as it relates to hazardous materials and trucking. As I said before, you can see that truck accidents and car accidents are not the same. Someone who handles car accidents may not necessarily be someone that wants to handle a trucking accident case by themselves, because this is just one facet of the law. We haven't even covered cargo securement or alcohol and drug testing for drivers or anything of that nature beyond that. So this is, like I said, one snippet, and we're done with this one. So let's move along.